But hey, cross-factional rating is coming. That's right, cross-faction rating next week, so we'll get more people queuing. I think, for sure.
Shadowlands left
Here we go.
a bit of a bad taste in people's mouth, right? And many are wondering...
Oh, hold on, let me pause the music. Here we go.
Can we memory hole it? Can we pretend it doesn't exist? Will
I wish.
Shadowlands drag the rest of WoW down? Will the gravity of Shadowlands' narrative, especially its ending, track the rest of the game? Pull it in a direction that's
so bad,
a bit
man.
too unrelatable.
You know, like, we waited this whole time, right? The jailer just dropped his lines throughout Shadowlands. His, like, typical villain lines. Puny mortals and... I am all powerful and all this shit, and then in the end you think we're gonna get like a big reveal of why he's done everything he's done, what's been happening. Finally he's gonna say more than 2 words, and before he dies all he says is, "You cannot stop what is to come." Oh, thank you for more villain mustache twisting lines, jailer. You contributed absolutely nothing to the lore in any meaningful way, and happy to see him gone, personally. Wow, that's a lot of truth that I never realized. At rest, please? What?
Those are some of the worries going on in the Warcraft community. Because people want to know that the direction of the game is something they'll vibe with before they put their time into it.
True.
Well, Shadowlands is going into chromie time. That actually means the new players literally will not see it at all when they first play the game.
Good for
Fizz
them.
justified this by saying the story of Shadowlands would be too difficult for new players to digest. Definitely true. But of course,
yeah, difficult.
It had some problems.
Difficult as in it would give them horrible diarrhea and indigestion. Who the fuck wants to digest this story?
Vets as well. Now, it takes years to develop an expansion, so Dragonflight
leave 'em
isn't
give 'em mustache
exactly
for
some
commercial.
sudden pivot. They likely knew they wanted to ratchet it back before Dragonflight, but perhaps the reaction to Shadowlands will be almost more impacting what comes after Dragonflight. You see, we've been told several times by Blizz they want Dragonflight to feel different. So, what of Shadowlands are we going to carry forward? What is it going to mean? We're going to draw together all the lore elements today, and of course, most importantly, why is it that squarespace.com /
And an evil laugh, yeah,
Bellular
for
Gaming,
sure.
today's sponsor, why is that such an alluring link that's worth
why?
clicking?
Why?
Well,
Why
a
is
while
it?
back, I talked about how I
Click it,
added
guys.
the media section to our Game Studios website, and how it was dead easy. It was super fast. That time, I had a whole bunch to do. I had loads of videos in my schedule. I was about to go on holiday.
I love how overseas they call it holiday.
Bam, 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 done. All I had to do is select what I want, apply the color themes I'd used earlier, and chuck in a bunch of images. Super quick, super easy. And when it comes to adding some of the YouTube videos that we've done, and I do have a few planned there, and some audio, because I know loads of you guys want more of our audio, I know that will be just as smooth. Now, they've got other awesome features. Memberships, email lists, e-commerce that I checked out last time, and other fantastic features. I mean, I'm hyped for the e-commerce thing.
Wonderful.
Kind of can't wait to get started there. It was so super quick and easy. So get yourself started nice and quick.
Try it.
With Squarespace's award-winning templates to build out your web presence today.
Do it and use Bellular.
/
Bellular Gaming.
Bellular Gaming.
10% off. There you go.
Code Bellular Gaming, and you'll get 10% off. A big thanks to Squarespace for supporting our channel. Let's go.
Let's do it. Cutting room floor.
All right, what are we leaving behind? What's getting cut? What will we not see for a while?
Everything.
Sylvanas.
Hopefully.
She's in the maw on her road to redemption or whatever, but basically it's going to be a while before we see her.
She's been shelved.
Questions remain, though. Things to grapple
with. Much like we left Illidan, you know, on the ship with with the Burning Legion defeated, and he's just standing there. You know, that's it. He's been shelved officially. Like, he's not dead, but he's in game. He's just not. We're not talking to him anymore. That's Sylvanas. Sylvanas has been shelved, put away in the maw, and Anduin might be with her. We're gonna see what he says about that.
Forsaken? What about the Horde Council? How will they work with the Forsaken? Well, as I covered before, we've got encrypted maps of Tirisfal in 9.2.5. We're likely going to deal with that soon. As for Sylvanas, she will be back. But with the way that Blizzard have set up time in the maw, it's going to be a long, long, long time. And even if it's in 3 or 4 expansions time, They could almost run a parallel between Sylvanas and her sister Illyria, where Illyria had the 1,000 years of war in the Twisting Nether, because, of course, time works mega funky in the Maw. Sylvanas could spend 1,000 years in the Maw, cleaning up after her mistake, before we see her again. That's 1,000 years from her perspective.
Right.
So that's Sylvanas, kind of in the box for a while. Kind of like her and Illidan, just a bit gone.
Exactly. Like I said.
Anduin. He's a bit of a mystery, right? He likely does join Sylvanas in the Maw for a bit, per the ending of the book. But what is the plan? Is he going to return later in Dragonflight? I mean, come on. Are they really going to miss out on opportunity of Anduin and Rathian working together?
Yeah, there's no way,
bros
man.
in Pandaria.
That was a great relationship.
Anduin punched him in the face. BFA? Well, I'd say if anything, the developing Turallion storyline or alliance tension, fracture stuff is going to happen.
Yeah.
Anduin will have to be back in some...
Turallion, man, you guys got to remember, Turallion only knows war. This guy fought in a war for 1,000 years. He is also extremely devoted to the light, which we have found out is not all truth and all knowing. The light has its own agendas and corruption. So this guy, we're talking about a fanatical leader who knows nothing but war, now in charge of one of the strongest armies in all of Azeroth. I don't know how he's going to react to Anduin coming back. I used to like Turallion a lot. I think now he's much more faulted than I used to believe he was. We'll see. Because this could lead, Blizzard has mentioned Alliance will have problems. And what kind of problems? Well, I think we're about to find out.
Way for that. But
Turallion is going to be involved in those
game
problems.
Director, Anduin may even give up the throne, or at least step back for a while and let his regent be his regent. Which could be a bit rumbly, given Turallion. Okay, another thing we're probably going to leave behind for a bit. Covenants and their leaders. Will we deal with them? I think probably not. Blizzard said they're taking a step back with the cosmic stuff. Dragonflight, then, is about Titans, dragons, and ancient Azeroth history.
Right.
On the one hand, the Shadowlands lore is way too big to put back in the box, right? Because you and me, we know that every power has a pantheon that came from Azareth. Weird cosmic halo ring, who knows? But on the other hand, does that matter?
Does it?
It only really matters if they make it matter in the future. So it shouldn't really impact our boots-on-the-ground high fantasy adventure. If anything, I think they could use ancient Titan lore as a bit of an off-ramp to the strange lore departures of Shadowlands. Speaking of which, we've actually not heard a single thing about the first ones in any Dragonflight interviews or official material.
Good.
None whatsoever.
Good.
Then, the shimmering blue water in the cinematic. We all thought it was Azerite because the planet's waking up.
Right.
Blizzard actually confirmed it to be bioluminescence. I mean, Azerite would have been a reasonable connection. We wouldn't have been angry about it.
So we still don't know why these guys woke up. Remember, we've talked about this. How many threats have we faced? And we've faced so many threats, and yet these guys never woke up until now. Right? The Burning Legion came twice, and BC and Legion. Right? The Wrath of the Lich King came and went. These guys didn't wake up. We had Garrosh basically fuck with the entire Pandaria continent, eat the heart of a freaking chaos god. All that shit still didn't come. We had Deathwing come and almost destroy the entire planet. You would have thought as a corrupted dragon aspect. I should have fucking invited this guy. A corrupted dragon aspect would have done something to wake him up. Nope, they stayed sleeping. We went to Shadowlands. We did BFA. I mean, we're talking about... we had an old god. We had Nazath come and almost destroy the planet. These guys still stayed sleeping. So what woke them up after every single threat didn't? What changed? Why is this threat different? I don't know, man. I don't know. That we still have no idea what caused Stoneboy to finally wake up.
But no, it's bioluminescence. Between that, not mentioning the first ones, man, it does feel like a bit of a step back. I'll get to that a bit more later. We've got to talk about the jailer, though. Zoval. After the Sepulchral raid, Fareem, who's a great character, I like him, he said the jailer damaged the grand design of the cosmos. He worried, with heavy foreshadowing, that something could take advantage of that flaw one day. When's that going to be? That is a looming question. There's gravity in that will pull the story in its direction in the future. Of course, that lines up perfectly with the jailer's cryptic line about what is to come. We don't know what that is. We've seen zero pointing towards Dragonflight having anything to do with it. Are we leaving that behind? I'd say no. Is it going to be a dangling mystery for the next, 6 years? Probably. Dragonflight could sort of explore some of these things, what the jailer was worried about, but to be honest, I'd imagine it's going to be something a bit more in the future. And here's the deal. Sure, a big new cosmic threat. If Blizzard builds that up slowly and with intention over a period of time, it could work. I mean, we all kind of assumed there'd be something going on after Sargeras.
Right.
The biggest problem was that Zoval was shit.
And that was a problem.
It's possible for that to be okay. Overall then, Shadowlands had quite a self-contained story. The thing is, it didn't feel like a self-contained story because Blizzard parasitically attached it to what came before. You know,
right.
Zoval, the 4D mastermind, and all that. But really, the Arbiter goes down. We all agree the Cosmos is unfair. The jailer is just a bit of a knobend. He went about it the wrong way. We install Pelagos as Arbiter. Bang! Done. Shadowlands is fixed. Goodbye. We leave it all behind. Of course, now we have to wonder about all the cosmic stuff that can't be put back in the box. But in a way, it expanded the lore, but the actual plot is kind of self-contained. And it would be pretty easy to just not really bother with it again for ages. Okay, what's next, though? What through lines from Shadowlands are going to follow us into Dragonflight? Well, Tyrande. I was confirmed by Ian as being an important one. And
She's gonna have that. She's gonna have that seed and shit, and I don't know what they're gonna do with the. We know, like, kind of know the direction of the undead, right? They're going back to Lordaeron. We know Callie and Menethil is going to be there. There's going to be like a storyline with the undead, kind of, getting a city back or retaking Lordaeron / the Undercity. The Night Elves, we know there are refugee Night Elves in Stormwind. Tyrande is coming back with a seed. What can you grow with a seed? A tree, potentially. We might get a new homeland of the Night Elves. That's what I think could happen. I'm not gonna lie, like, I do have connections to Darnassus. I said before in the stream that my first ever toon was a Night Elf hunter. The first character I ever made in World of Warcraft. The first city I ever saw was Darnassus. I do miss it. So maybe we get a new world tree, a new Darnassus-esque city, and a new home for the Night Elves. I think that seed that she has is gonna play a role. And Tyrande's learned a lot here about not being angry, not being an angry bitch. So maybe she'll be a better leader for them, too.
Elune. In Shadowlands, we hear her voice. That could be the first step in the road to meeting her, or, if Blizzard go a bit more grounded, exploring her creations and the mythos surrounding her. In my opinion, let's just not talk to pseudo-gods for a while, please.
Yeah.
Now, patch 9.2.5 also contains an encrypted cutscene called Queen's Gift. There is art labeled Queen's Gift that was data mined, and
that's what I'm talking about. Yep.
So we're kind of thinking that we're going to be getting some sort of seed to replant Teldrassil or a new world tree or some renewal thing.
Exactly.
If Tyrande's important, then I would imagine the Elune story does get to develop. Some sort of world seed will happen with this Queen's Gift.
Oh, yeah.
And we'll see the next step in this renewal storyline. That is a way the Shadowlands story continues into the future of the game, but also how it could start to mend the rather literal damage to the state of the Night Elves in Azeroth that was inflicted by the bizarre double punch of BFA and Shadowlands. Azeroth, then. How will that storyline be carried forward? Well, Blizzard's story is stepping back from...
So I remember when I said, like, how did these guys show up? Like, why are they here now? What's going on? Well, this probably has something to do with it. I'm guessing Azeroth finally woke up. Something happened with the World Soul. Even though that it's not Azerite in the water, I think it still has to do with Azeroth. There's a reason that these guys woke up, and it probably has to do with our World Soul And I believe that it was confirmed that somebody said we were going to see Azeroth. We were finally going to see her in Dragonflight. I could be wrong, but I thought that was revealed.
Very heady cosmos stuff. But we can't just ignore what we've discovered about our own planet. Over the last 3 expansions, they just kept on making Azeroth more and more central to the story.
Right.
And of course, I'm not literally talking about the crusty planet, I'm talking about the literal god,
The world soul,
thing at the heart of it. In Legion, we finally confirmed Azeroth had a world soul. Through BFA, we discover her blood is more powerful than anything we'd ever came across before. In Shadowlands, well, we find out that that same blood is sort of pumping up through the walls of Zereth Mortis.
Right.
Kind of opening humongous questions about Azeroth and the First Ones.
Right.
Then in Dragonflight, it's continued a bit, where we see the land awakening and the Dragonflights taking their positions as guardians of Azeroth once more. Right? So we're probably going to get huge Azeroth's lore in Dragonflight. But that really doesn't mean we need to hear about the First Ones again. There's quite a good opening for them to continue the through line of stepping back from the crazy Cosmos stuff, but still keep the Azeroth storyline going.
True.
They can do that because they're bringing back the dragons.
Bring
They
back
can
the
take
fucking
weird
dragons.
loopy stuff and frame it within the cool core fantasy thing that we all know.
We have a realm to
Okay.
destroy.
Crazy, but let's talk about what...
Des
we should
Chain, thank you for the follow and welcome to our Scourge. Welcome, welcome.
Shadowlands did have a few excellent elements. Yeah, I'm going to say that. The brokers, they're great. I'd love to see them again.
The brokers
I
are
think we will
cool.
continue to have them. I think they could tie into the very interesting ethereal conspiracy theories that we've posited on the channel over the last few years. But I do think the Dragonflight is just not the place for them.
Yeah,
Another
I
big
agree.
win that I think we're going to continue onward is the Nathrazine.
The Nathrazine, for sure. You know, with Denathrius and shit. They're going to continue. Those corrupt fuckers are going to be everywhere. We know their ability to disguise, the Dreadlords and all that stuff. They're going to be everywhere, and they're very... it seems like they're central to a lot of lore in World of Warcraft. Now, as far as Shadowlands specific races, I do agree with him that the brokers were some of my favorite, and I hope that we do see them again. If anything comes out of Shadowlands, I hope the brokers do. And maybe they find a way to ride a little ship out of the afterlife. I don't know. But the rest of the afterlife races, the rest of the races that come from the Shadowlands, they can stay there. They can stay there, and I think lore-wise they should stay there. They need Adamant to survive and shit, so there's no reason for them to come to the land of the living. Right on, man. Was just browsing channels and stopped by. Hey, Des Chain, thanks, man. Thanks, man. Well, welcome. This is Pug Raid Central. Welcome, welcome. Yep, we're here Monday through Friday, 7 a.m., forming up Pug
Nathrazine is a
Raid,
popular character
discussing
in the
WoW
community.
lore and shit.
The
It's a
developers
good time.
decided to give him actually more story.
Bruno, welcome to the
after
raid.
he
I
was
invited
bound
you.
to Remornia. Now, the way that all played out, with Jailer's downfall and the Nathrazine seemingly still being maybe even a bit more loyal to Denathrius, it kind of gave us the impression that the Sire always had a bit of an off-ramp from the Jailer.
Right.
Again, not something we're likely to take into Dragonflight, but Denathrius and his legion of cosmic infiltrators could be important in the future.
As I understood it, Sire Denathrius became like a lore pop icon, right? Everybody fell in love with the voice actor from Sire, even though I don't think they brought him back after that whole lawsuit shit. Fuck that shit, man. He wasn't even guilty, and they fired his ass. If you don't know the story behind the guy who voiced Sire Denathrius and how Blizzard fucked him over because he was just accused of some sexual harassment shit, it turned out he was innocent. But of course, we take the route of guilty until proven innocent. Maybe this whole Amber Heard case is going to change that. But this guy was prior to that, so he got fucked sideways. But anyway, Sire Denathrius was a very cool character. He became somebody that everybody loved. Castle Nathria, to me, was like the best raid in this expansion. Even though I like Sepulchre of the first ones, I still like Castle Nathria the most. I love that raid. And I'll be excited to do it in the Fated system. But I feel like Blizzard has created more plans for him because of the love people showed. So we'll see if we get to see him more. For sure. Yeah, I'd enjoy a pug raid, but I haven't raided at all since Castle Nathria. Oh, it's a good time to come back, man. It's a good time to come back. We're progressing on heroic right now, but we do normal too, depending on your eye level and all that. You can always come to one of those. But yeah, it's a good time to come back, and the Fated raid system's coming. Don't know if you know about that, but basically like Mythic Plus, not Mythic Plus difficulty, but like plus versions of all the raids. So we're gonna go back and do Castle Nathria in the coming months. Should be fun.
Actually, no, they are, and that's why I bring it up today. Because 9.2.5...
I have a lot of raiders who haven't done anything,
kind of,
and they just started Sepulchre the first ones with us, pug raiding.
Dreadlord lore in this patch that establishes the new Mythic Plus affix. So they do have a little way to carry that forward. For other characters staying in the story, Tyrande, Rathian, Khadgar, those are all confirmed for Dragonflight, but you might wonder, where does that leave the Horde? Because a few Horde characters were in and sort of were sometimes developed during Shadowlands. Well,
Khadgar didn't do shit this last
Shadowlands
expansion.
Adventure didn't pan out.
Yeah.
Poor guy. We didn't
Bane just sat.
We didn't learn about the true heritage of the Tauren.
Bane just hung out in the sky dildo that is Oribos. Bane did absolutely nothing. He got captured. We rescued him, and then he just did this the entire expansion. And Bane's a cool character, man. I feel like Blizzard's done Bane wrong. Bane comes from a badass bloodline, man. He's a cool guy. I like Bane, and yet he did this. He sat inside of a sky dildo the entire expansion. I don't know what the fuck happened with... I don't know if he had plans and they just didn't come pan out or what. 258 from my 4-piece. I've never raided as DPS, lol. Been playing a rogue since I stopped raiding. More fun solo than a pally. Yeah, I mean, rogues are fun solo. 258, I mean, at Des Chain, if you want to come today, feel free to join, man. You're not high enough item level to join through LFR, but I would invite you if you just tell me your tune name and server. Give me your character name and server name, and I can /invite you. We are in Lords of Dread. It is a pretty fucking complicated fight, but we're trying to get him down today. Today we're going to make it happen. The whole Shadowlands lore makes no sense for Tauren. That's true, Entgrove. Tauren in general got fucked sideways. And Tauren in general got fucked pretty hard in BFA too, man. Blizzard just been slighting them pretty badly. We got to see a return of the Tauren in the next expansion.
About the true heritage of the Tauren. The latter is something we were kind of promised by marketing material. So surely we're due to at least get
They got their heritage armor.
Planned arc.
That was about it.
Then Thrall. Shadowlands was actually big and important for Thrall because he's now back in his old school, Doomhammer, black armor.
He talked to his mom.
After a quick conversation with Draka, he's kind of over his guilt at killing Garrosh. That is one of the things that was really holding Thrall back. And that actually means that we might have our hammer-swinging, element-wielding Thrall back in the story.
Maybe cool Thrall returns.
Bit more as we know him. Because the armor he's wearing very much looks like Warcraft 3 Thrall, not Green Jesus Thrall. So that's pretty good.
Green Jesus Thrall. Yeah, but he was overpowered in Cataclysm, man. I think that's why people didn't like him. He kind of, I wouldn't say dehumanized because he's not a human, but de-orcized him. Right? He became too godlike. The struggle that we typically have in game, his was unrelatable. He just became like a Super Saiyan orc with his blasting shit that he killed Deathwing with. So he became unlikable. Hopefully now he's a return to likable Thrall. I'll hang in chat, man. If you need someone for a proper makeup, I'll try. But I haven't seen any of the fights. I'd need a coach. I need coached. And I'd be more likely to hold the raid back. Hey, no problem. We do a lot of teaching on the stream too. The first time we go into a raid, all the time we watch videos and shit on how to do these fights. This isn't our first time. We've been at Sepulchre, the first ones, for quite a while now. But yeah, happy to have you in chat, man. No problem. Watch the stream. You'll learn the fights that way too. So thanks for popping in. Hence the Green Jesus meme. Yeah, exactly. Hence the Green Jesus meme when it comes to Thrall.
Now, the other opportunity for the Horde is Vol'jin. Yeah. Vol'jin, I mean, come on. He's one of the most screwed over characters in the game.
Vol'jin was so cool. He got stabbed by an NPC.
He could have got so much more. He's such a cool dude. Well, the thing is, his soul is now all connected, wrapped up to the Loa of Kings, Razan.
Hey, Razan,
and in the Night Fae campaign, the Winter Queen sort of stored his soul in a wild seed. And all of this just kind of means that there's room for him to be sort of reborn in Azeroth or visit Azeroth.
Yeah.
As a Loa. So
yeah,
there's
connected
a way
through a
that we
spirit
can
of the
still
Loa or
have
something.
Vol'jin be back in the story that would continue on the Shadowlands storyline, but kind of like in a good way. Okay, let's look a bit more to the future then for Dragonflight. For Ian Hazzikostas, the most exciting challenge of Shadowlands was making something brand new in the Warcraft universe. That was something he said in the interview with Asmongold.
Right, Shadowlands was never hinted at in Warcraft lore. Right, there's nothing Shadowlands-esque. This was all brand new. Like they created this from scraps. Like BFA, the Zandalari trolls, and Kaltirans. They've been part of World of Warcraft lore since the very beginning. We always knew they existed. We just didn't know where they were. Even prior to that, like Mists of Pandaria, we always knew about the Pandaren. As much as people hated them, they've always been part of Warcraft lore. People hated on that shit, and it's always been there. Wrath, Cataclysm, all these expansions were like pulling from prior lore from Warcraft 1 through 3. And then enter Shadowlands. This was completely new. No base to build. They completely laid the foundation and built it. And how did that turn out? Fucking shitty. But to be honest, they did build this completely from scratch. So A for effort, E for execution.
A whole bunch out of Warcraft 3, and they wanted to bring the franchise somewhere new. So that's where that went.
Yeah.
We'll debate for years how good that was. Or maybe we won't, because maybe it's a settled issue. But there's one thing that we know, I think, beyond a doubt. We can never really go back. You can't just say, hey, lore update, Shadowlands didn't happen. I don't think it's possible to retcon it.
No.
But, I mean, literally, we know our cosmos is now full of warring pantheons since the beginning of time. And we know the jailer thinks something really scary is coming to end everything. We can never undo those things. And the thing is that if we weren't so exhausted with that kind of content, then it's weird. It would be really hard to ignore it. I think because we're so exhausted by it, it's very easy to ignore.
Right.
But also, as somebody who really enjoys the Warhammer franchise, I do think that stuff can be really cool. It just has to be done well.
Yeah, I don't know anything about the Warhammer franchise.
To the side for a good long time. And I think there's something emblematic of that. When we saw Koranos, the Titan Watcher, in the Dragonflight trailer, I think that was really Blizzard saying, hey, remember when Cosmic was cool? Because he was very much in the style of Uldaman Titan stuff.
Yeah. He's very Titan-esque.
The architecture we see looks more Wrath of the Lich King-ish, more Uldaman-ish. So as far as I can tell...
We just did Ulduar yesterday. We full cleared Ulduar. Stoneboy here, he would fit in just fine with that. His aesthetic and everything about him, even his like little spear that he's carrying, his little weapon here. This thing, it would fit. Like this could be a drop in Ulduar.
As far as I can tell, what I
fit just perfectly in there.
Next expansion is it really
right. This weapon is very like Titan-esque, Ulduar-esque. His entire aesthetic is. So yeah, it is kind of a return to the basics of Cosmic, and not like this Cosmic like fucking mind blowing. We're in the Shadowlands, afterlife, all this weird shit, riding a sperm through the air to different places.
Really, anything that wasn't cool, didn't land, or was just too damn convoluted to be good from Shadowlands, I think it'll just be put on the shelf for this expansion. So, how much can we ignore Shadowlands and Dragonflight? I would say almost all of it.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
We're totally not going to deal with Shadowlands stuff at all.
Almost all of it. And that's, I mean, from my perspective...
Even though I talked about the Dreadlords and shit, I even think they're shelved for an expansion. I don't think we're dealing with the Dreadlords even in Dragonflight. I think like almost everything, even though Dreadlords came long before Shadowlands and will be here long after Shadowlands, I think anything kind of semi-attached to this expansion we're not going to deal with for a while.
Pretty good thing. So, there you go. If you were just kind of wondering, if you had that existential fear of, oh no, they've jumped the shark. They can't put the... I was going to say put the cat back in the box. I don't think that's that phrase. You know, it's out of the box. I can't put it back in. And if you were worried that that just means...
Fog.
Warcraft's never going to feel like Warcraft.
Welcome to the stream and the raid, my man.
It's possible to essentially memory hole Shadowlands.
Yeah.
I think it could work. Okay. That's it. How much of Shadowlands do you want to be carried forward? You know all this stuff with the Zarets?
The only thing I want is slappy hands. I just want my slappy hands. Give me Abomination Limb, which is confirmed, actually. We are carrying a lot of abilities forward. No more borrowed power. Give me my slappy hands. That's the only thing I want from Shadowlands. Otherwise, the rest of it can stay in the afterlife. There is no way someone in DF won't secretly be a Dreadlord. That's like that's like their favorite gig. Yeah, no, I agree. But maybe we find that out like at the very end of the expansion or in the next expansion. Oh, this guy turned out to be a fucking Dreadlord. Dreadlords are there. They're there in every fucking expansion. We've realized that now. They've always been there, and they're always gonna be there. But I just think they're gonna kind of, step away from anything that reminds us of Shadowlands, at least for like the first couple patches in Dragonflight. If they bring Dreadlords in, it won't be till the very end, probably.
All of that in the future. I mean, from my perspective, you could probably just do something that knocks them all out or makes them go all weird or something like that, or makes them essentially not be that important. I just think they need to make the cosmos not feel like a big machine. Right, yeah, that kind of like, oh, weird, what's determined, what's destiny, shaping fate. Let Alex Garland deal with that shit, please. Okay, have a great day. Check out today's sponsor,
Good stuff.
Squarespace, in that link down below.
There you go. Check it out, guys. Check it out. Thank you, Bellular, for another wonderful clip there.